वेलकम टू आर्ट ट्रेवलर्स। आर्ट ट्रेवलर्स में आप सभी को स्वागत। देखिए, भारत सरकार ने मालदीव्स के लिए जो तीर चलाया वो लगा पूरा जाके चाइना पे। चाइना का जो सरकारी मीडिया ग्लोबल टाइम्स ने अपना रोना धोना फिर से शुरू कर दिया। मालदीव को टाइट देने के लिए भारत सरकार ने जो दाव चलाया वो दाव जाके लगा चाइना पे। तो असल बात, एक तीर पे दो निशाना। देखते रहिए आज का जो रिपोर्ट चाइना का सरकारी मीडिया ग्लोबल टाइम्स में फिर से रोना धोना शुरू कर दिया और भारत के बारे में क्या क्या बोल रहा है देखते रहिए। शुरू कर दिया आर्ट ट्रेवलर्स से। देखते रहिए, चाइना का रोना शुरू हो गया।
I hope countries like India should respect the special nature of a country like Maldives and deal with Maldives with full respect as a sovereign independent country. And it is up to the Maldives government and people to decide which country should be visited by the new president of Maldives. I'm afraid India has a little bit of a distorted attitude and mentality. Why? Because India itself views itself as the dominant country on the subcontinent in South Asia. However, on the other hand, countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Bhutan, and Nepal, and Maldives, they are very, very different. They are not the same as India. India should give up any residual dream of the British Indian Empire, which wants to control the subcontinent in Asia as if it is one single place. It dominates. Maldives is, relatively speaking, of course, everyone acknowledges that it's very small in terms of the size of the country or the size of the population. The country is a very fragile country in terms of ecological environment, rising sea level, and the need to fight off the consequences of climate change. And it also depends on foreign trade and tourism, for example. And the more tourism visiting Maldives, the better it is for the Maldives economy as a whole. Therefore, for Maldives to be friends with all and enemy with none should be really very much appreciated. They want to have peace. They want to develop their economy. They want to promote their tourism, for example, and they want to increase the living standards of the Maldives people, and they want to make sure Maldives will be sustainable. This is something that all of us, including countries like India and China, need to fully respect. As I mentioned, Maldives is very important to China in several ways. One is that Maldives is definitely one of the most attractive tourist destinations for millions of Chinese tourists. Now, secondly, China is involved in many respects in Maldives. For example, when Maldives is hit with a natural disaster, China rushed forward, supplying fresh water to Maldives. China is also involved in some power generation, desalination projects, etc., and also infrastructure and connectivity. Further, as you correctly mentioned, Maldives is in the middle of the Indian Ocean, very strategically located. As a matter of fact, many commercial shipping going from the east side of the Indian Ocean, going to the west side of the Indian Ocean to the African side or the Arab side, for example, need to go through waters which have Maldives in the middle of that. That means Maldives can play a very important role as a hub, not only in maritime transportation, shipping, also satellite communication, you name it. And this can be developed together with promoting tourism in Maldives. Another point, allow me to emphasize, is that while Maldives is so beautiful, so attractive, so exotic to many people, Maldives is also very fragile in the overall context of climate change. Therefore, Many things need to be planned and executed ahead of time. We cannot just wait until, for example, rising sea level may eventually inundate islands like Maldives. A lot of infrastructure projects need to be planned ahead of time, and this will require a lot of capital, muscle, engineering capabilities, you name it. And I think China is well equipped to do its best to work with countries like Maldives to beef up their defense against rising sea level, to make sure that their culture, their civilization, their way of life will be sustainable, will survive the onslaught of the dire consequences of climate change.